Hi everyone, welcome to my channel. I'm Gloria, a data scientist. Today I'm going to show you how to solve any Leetcode SQL question in a structured way. My 5-step method. Are you ready? Let's get started. Question 1661. Average time of process per machine. It's an easy question. It gives us one table activity with 4 columns. Machine ID, process ID, activity type, and a timestamp. The table shows the user activity for a factory website. Machine ID, process ID, and activity type is the primary key. That means the combination of these 3 columns, the values are unique across the entire table. And the machine ID is the ID of a machine. Process ID is the ID of a process running on the machine with the ID machine ID. Activity type is an enum variable with the start and end 2 values. Timestamp is a float representing the current time in seconds. Start means the machine starts the process at the given timestamp, and end means the machine ends the process at the given timestamp. The start timestamp will always be before the end timestamp for every machine ID and process ID pair, so all the records here are valid. And it is guaranteed that each machine ID process ID pair has a start and end timestamp. They are all completed processes. The question asks us to write a solution to find the average time each machine takes to complete a process. And the time to complete a process is the end timestamp minus the start timestamp. So we will calculate the duration of the process. The resulting table should have the machine ID because we are summarized by machine here, along with the average time as processing time, which should be rounded to 3 decimal places. So we are going to round it and return the result table in any order. Let's take a look at one example. In example 1, we have 3 machine IDs, machine ID 0, machine ID 1, and machine ID 2. For each machine, it has run 2 processes, and the 2 processes were recorded as process ID 0 and 1 separately. To calculate the average time machine ID 0 used for each process, we are going to use the end time minus the start time for each process ID. So, the first time is 1.520 minus 0.712. The second time is 4.120 minus 3.140. Then we average the 2 time here. 0.894. Similarly, we calculate the machine ID 1's average process time is 0.995, and the average time for machine ID 2 is 1.456. So we generated a table like this. A quick recap, I'm using a 5-step method to work on any SQL question. If you are not familiar with the 5-step method yet, please check my other video for more information. Step 1. Identify the data fields to return. In this question, the resulting table should have the machine ID along with the average time as processing time. So we are going to return machine ID and a new field called processing time. And we need to have some calculation here, which we can work on it later. And step 2, identify the related tables. We have only one table here, so the related table is activity. And step 3, connect the step 2 tables together. In this question, because we are going to calculate the average processing time for each machine ID, what we need to do is for each pair of machine ID, process ID, we are going to use the end timestamp to minus the start timestamp to calculate time duration for each machine ID and process ID pair, and then calculate the average. What we are looking for is a table look like this. In this table, the left side is the start time of each machine ID and process ID. And the right side is the corresponding end time for the same pair of machine ID and process ID. For example, in this record, we have the same machine ID 1, process ID 0. So it's the same task, the same process. The left side is the start time, and the right side is the end time. We use the end timestamp minus the left side start timestamp. We can calculate the time it used for this process. After we calculate the time spent for each machine ID and process ID, we then take the average using machine ID. But how do we generate a table like this? We will need to split the activity table into two subtables. We extract all records when their activity type is start into one table, call it start table. And then we extract all records with activity type is equal to end into another table, let's call it end table. Then we merge them together by using the same machine ID and the same process ID. Then we can generate this table. Let's work on the code. From activity as start, left join activity as end. I renamed the table activity to start and end to differentiate them. On, here are the conditions when we do the join. Start table's activity type is start, so we extract all the records when their activity type is start to generate the start table. And activity type is end. And start's machine ID is the same as end's machine ID. And start's process ID is the same as end's process ID. These parts, we are trying to match the same machine ID and the same process ID together so we can do the comparison. This is how we generate the table we need in step 3. Now let's go to step 4, apply additional conditions. In the table we constructed earlier, we are able to calculate the time spent for each machine ID and process ID, because we are going to calculate for each machine ID the average processing time. So we are going to summarize taking the average of T00 and T01 for machine ID 0, and these two times for machine ID 1, and these two for machine ID 2. To do this, we are going to use the group by statement. Group by machine ID. Step 5, return the results. We are going to return the machine ID along with the average time as processing time, as we indicated in step 1. So we are using end tables timestamp minus start tables timestamp to calculate processing time. And because we are going to group by machine ID to calculate the average, we add the AVG function to calculate the average by each machine ID. And the question also requires us to round the number to 3 decimal points. Round 3. The comma 3, the 3 number here means we are going to keep 3 decimal points. That's it. Let's move forward to the SQL code. Now let me translate the 5 data steps to SQL code. Select. Here are the data fields we identified and created in step 1. From. This is the table we created in step 3, where we split the activity table into 2 subtables. One contains the records when the activity type is start, and the other one contains the records when their activity type is end. Then merge the 2 subtables together using the same machine ID and the same process ID, and group the records by the machine ID. Okay, that's it. Let's run it. Success. Okay, it works. Alright, that's it for today. I hope you like it. Don't forget to give me a thumbs up, subscribe my channel, and hit the notification bell. Also, please drop a comment. I'd love to hear your thoughts. Again, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.